The story of Outcast, basically it's set in a small town, fictional town called Rome in West Virginia, and it's about a community who, within their midst, there are things going on like possession, demonic possession, and the central character, Kyle Barnes, is played by Patrick Fugit, and he's basically coping with a kind of abused past where his mother was possessed and when he was about 7 years old. And I play a character called the Reverend Anderson, who was there to try and exorcise his mother from this demonic possession. So Kyle and I have a bit of a history, and then we sort of team up a bit later on in the show to try and root out the evil and find out why this is going on. And it's really about a small town and how these outside influences affect their every being, and they're all quite sort of, I'd say, complex, quite broken people in many respects. So it's really, people say it's a sort of horror genre, but it's much more, I would say, a character-driven piece in many respects. This is my first foray into American TV, so there was that opportunity. And secondly, it was such a wild character. It was so far removed from me as a person that I just thought I could have a lot of fun with this in many respects. And obviously it's from the pen of Robert Kirkman, who gave the world The Walking Dead. And he's just got such an extraordinary imagination. And so it was really a no-brainer in one of those situations, you know. We actually shot in South Carolina as opposed to West Virginia. Tax breaks. And so it was very much the South in that respect. So it felt very real, quite claustrophobic in places. And they do long hours, the Americans, I have to say. They don't shirk. So that was a bit of an eye-opener. But once we got up and running with it, and it was a very collaborative process with an amazing crew, amazing showrunner in Chris Black, bunch of different directors. So it was I think, you know, wherever you go in the world, a film crew is a film crew. Everybody has their job. But it was still, you know, it was hard work, but we had fun shooting it, and I think we all felt sort of that this was quite a special piece. It was, you know, it was well written, it was exciting to get the scripts. I suppose the obvious comparison, the closest comparison would be something like The Exorcist, the film, which I did have on, I've seen it many years ago, and I did have it on DVD with me in the States, but I kind of purposefully kept away from watching it in the end because I didn't want to be too influenced by sort of Max von Sydow's character, which is pretty similar to mine. Other than that, I think it's a different show to anything that's on telly at the moment. I think it's quite unique, it's quite rare, but it's got its own vibe, it's got its own feeling about it, and that's a sort of testament to Kirkman's writing and Adam Wingard's direction, and, you know, everybody involved in shooting it. You know, we had an amazing cinematographer in David Tattersall, who's British, who really is a movie man. So we were very lucky to get him to shoot the whole series, the whole first series. So it looks incredibly cinematic as well. I mean, you could stick it in the cinema and you wouldn't know. You know, it's telly. Patrick was great. Really very laid back, very committed, absolutely on it, but a wonderful sort of dry sense of humour. And so we used to spend quite a lot of time on set in the downtime in between when they were setting up shots. Just and when we come to rehearse a scene, we'd sort of have a bit of fun. He does a very good Tom Cruise impression, and I sort of do an okay Michael Caine. So we used to rehearse it as Michael Caine and Tom Cruise. How would they play this part, this scene? So we used to, just for the crew, sort of do it as Tom and Mike. It is quite a slow burner, but I kind of like that with shows. You get to know the characters, you get to feel a sense of the space and the town. And as I say, it would be very easy to just have a show that became Exorcism of the Week and Who's Possessed this week. So the first couple of episodes might imply that, but then what I love about it is we take the audience on a completely different route to the one they think they may be going on. And then some more characters come in, which I won't say too much about, but some very dark forces are about to appear. And I was asked to describe, you know, how would you describe the show? And I would say, rather than it's sort of scary horror and all that, that's a bit too obvious, it's more unsettling, it's quite disturbing, I think. And that's why I think people should watch it, because I think over 10 episodes it sort of cranks up that element in those elements in many respects, and hopefully by the end of the first season people will be coming back for more.